Hi everyone. Here to answer this is little Zarzar taking a little snooze in the covers here on this cold and rainy day. To answer our Fun Fact Friday challenge, which was what does it mean to be consistent in dog training? Hi Davina. For me, consistency means that when you choose a behavior, whatever behavior it is that you decide on, you need to stick with whatever expectation you've chosen. So consistent would be, if I'm going to train my dog to sit, I want to say the sit command one time and get a response. That would be being consistent in the training, instead of saying like sit, 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 sit 5 to 7 times. How you train and the method you choose can be built around that expectation. So, like in using this example, I want my dog to perform that sit off of me saying it once, not 5 times, 10 times, 7 times, whatever. Then you need to do some research or sign up for our training program and be able to know how you train to achieve that. That's the consistency. So it's the consistency in how you're communicating with the dog in and around a certain behavior. Another example we could use would be like jumping, like no jumping. I don't want my dog to jump on me. Once you've decided that that's your expectation, then you've got to make sure that anytime that dog's going to jump on you, you're consistently saying the same thing to the dog. You might say it in different ways. Some people, you can use food. You can use prevention. There's a lot of different ways. And again, we have a full no jumping program if you want to check it out. But you can say it in different ways, but you're consistently, the expectation is the same, and you always have the same expectation, even if you're kind of communicating it in different ways to the dog. What, in my opinion, is not consistency, and some people think if I start training my dog, hi Sterling, I have to be consistent and train my dog every single day. No, you don't. If the behavior is coming up daily, then yes, you would have to address it each and every day, such as no jumping. But if it's something like I want to teach my dog how to stay, or I want to teach my dog how to walk nicely on the leash, you only need consistency if you're going to say the word stay, or if you're going to put the leash on your dog and your new expectation is the dog's not dragging you around anymore. So then anytime the leash is on the dog, if you're being consistent, you always have the same expectation and they're not allowed to drag you around anymore. So part of what I wanted to show here is that as you look at being consistent in dog training, it's hard to be consistent if you don't have a training program. So you can have an expectation, but you don't know how to communicate it. So that's why a good training program helps you to be consistent in your communication with the dog. But no, it doesn't mean that it has to happen every single day. And then the other thing, that this is actually a bit bigger of a thing, this consistency thing. So we're going to have part 2 next week of this. And because we've already talked about expectation, which is a huge component for dog training. And like we're going to pick on the jumping right now, I'm going to use the words always and never. So like if you say, okay, my dog's not going to jump on me, it is ever again, right? Like I'm setting the stage. This is not happening anymore, kind of a thing. So in consistent dog training, there you can kind of put those words in. My dog's always going to sit off of one command. I won't get into the whole training theory behind that, but you can actually make that happen without using force on the dog. It has to do with helping the dog and that sort of thing. So always, right? Not that, okay, well, sometimes I'll just say the word 5 times to see if they do it. So you kind of have this always and never going on. And what we're going to delve into and talk about with the Fun Fact Friday challenge for next week is going to be the word sometimes, which is a really fun word, is sometimes, and how sometimes you can kind of think is a big X in dog training. We don't want to be sometimes I do it, whatever. So we're going to talk about that, and that'll be our kind of part 2 to this. All right, Zara is sound asleep, and Sterling's trying to come in here for snuggles. Where's your little nose? All right, happy training.